average kid that no one understands. Mom and Dad and Vicky.
Who doesn't remember Timmy Turner, that kid with the pink hat, the babysitter from hell, and two fairy godparents who turned his life into complete chaos? But what many people don't know is that Timmy has changed a lot over the years. From the early shorts of the 90s to the most modern 3D versions, his story is filled with magic, madness, and nostalgia. But before we start, don't forget to drop a like to support the channel and subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this. Now let's begin. Oh yeah, cartoons, 1998 to 2001. Before Nickelodeon launched Timmy Turner into stardom, the Fairly OddParents actually began as a small hidden gem inside the show. Oh yeah, cartoons, a sort of laboratory for wild ideas created by Fred Seibert, where different animators presented shorts to see which ones had the potential to become full series. And among all those experiments, a young animator named Butch Hartman appeared, presenting a story about a kid with a miserable life, but who had fairy godparents capable of granting him any wish.
I'm Cosmo.
I'm Wanda.
And we're your fairy godparents!
That's how Timmy Turner was born, a kid with a pink hat, big teeth, and a life that was already pretty chaotic, even in the early shorts. In this first version, Timmy was more mischievous and less innocent, and his godparents, Cosmo and Wanda, had a slightly wilder sense of humor, even a bit sarcastic.
You always were great with dessert. Ooh, may I, Pookie?
Of course, Stallion.
Wanda was already the voice of reason, and Cosmo, well, from the very beginning he was a complete disaster. Visually, the shorts were simpler and more angular, with flat colors, thick outlines, and somewhat stiff animation, but with a very unique 90s energy. There were no digital effects yet. Everything was traditional 2D animation, drawn frame by frame, giving it that handmade, nostalgic feeling. Vicky, the evil babysitter, already appeared in these early shorts. Timmy's dad, on the other hand, didn't even have a name or a defined personality yet. He was just Dad, a background character with almost no development.
Oh, our little boy is growing up.
Oh, there, honey. We can always have another one.
These shorts became so successful on Nickelodeon that fans quickly started asking for more. And that's how, in 2001, the Fairly OddParents officially became an animated series. The Fairly OddParents, 2001 to 2017. And this is where everything exploded. In 2001, Nickelodeon launched the Fairly OddParents as an official series, and it became one of the channel's biggest hits, second only to SpongeBob. The story followed 10-year-old Timmy Turner, a kid living a pretty terrible life, distracted parents, a babysitter who looked like she came straight from hell, and a bunch of typical childhood problems. But he had two fairy godparents, Cosmo and Wanda, who could grant him almost any wish, as long as he didn't break the rules. And of course, being Timmy, he broke them all the time. Or well, his wishes just made everything worse.
I wish I had to do the exact opposite of whatever my parents tell me to do.
The show was absolute chaos, a perfect mix of absurd comedy, social satire, and completely unpredictable moments. There were episodes where Timmy wished to never grow up, others where he wanted superpowers, or where he accidentally unleashed cosmic disasters just by wording a wish wrong. The characters also evolved a lot. Timmy went from being a grumpy kid to a more heroic protagonist, still impulsive, but with a big heart. Cosmo became even dumber in an adorable way, bringing in the absurd humor.
Isn't there anybody else you'd like to make smarter? Curse you, round hole!
Wanda solidified her role as the maternal, smart, protective figure. Visually, the animation improved dramatically. It went from simple lines to a more fluid style with digital effects, soft lighting, and more detailed backgrounds. The colors also became brighter and more saturated, giving it that iconic Nickelodeon look we all remember from its golden era. And something interesting, the writers loved using meta humor. They constantly broke the fourth wall, made pop culture references, and even joked about cartoon cliches. The success was so big that in 2004 they released the first long specials, and in 2011 the series made the jump to live action, but we'll get to that later. During those years, the Fairly OddParents became an absolute classic, fast-paced, funny, and with a message many of us didn't notice as kids, that sometimes wishes don't solve everything, and that growing up is also part of the magic. The crossovers with Jimmy Neutron, 2004 to 2006. In the mid-2000s, Nickelodeon already had its two genius kids on screen, Jimmy Neutron, the 3D boy genius, and Timmy Turner, the 2D kid with fairy godparents. And of course, someone at Nickelodeon had the brilliant idea to combine two completely different worlds. That's how the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour was born, a crossover that was a massive TV event at the time. Timmy Turner accidentally travels to Jimmy Neutron's 3D universe, while Jimmy ends up in Timmy's 2D world. The result was a total clash of styles. Magic versus science, spells versus inventions, and a whole lot of chaos.
Whoa. Hey, why is everything so bulgy? Ah, who cares?
The visual effects in this trilogy were impressive for their time. The team had to merge two completely different animation styles. They had to recreate Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda in full 3D, while also making 2D versions of Jimmy and his friends for the parts set in Timmy's world. And it wasn't just a technical experiment. The story actually had depth. Timmy arrives in Jimmy's lab and, as always, starts making reckless wishes. Meanwhile, Jimmy tries to use science to control magic, and the result is an interdimensional disaster.
Give me that! How did you get in my lab anyway? Ha! Your lab! Sorry, dude. I got dibs on this place. One of these gives...
The crossover was so successful that it had two more sequels, When Nerds Collide, The Jerkinators. In these sequels, the rivalry between the two protagonists grows to the point where they nearly destroy their universes. But in the end, they realize that even though they're total opposites, together they make a great team. It was a huge milestone for Nickelodeon, not just technically, but because it was the first time two animated series from the channel crossed into such different universes. And fans still remember those specials fondly as some of the most ambitious and entertaining episodes in the saga.
Thanks for saving my dog.
Thanks for saving my,
Fairy programs?
Sure, fairy programs!
And yes, seeing Cosmo and Wanda in 3D was weird at first. But let's be honest, it was also epic. The live-action trilogy, 2011 to 2014. After dominating animation, Nickelodeon decided to take a risky step, bringing the Fairly OddParents into the real world. In 2011, a Fairly Odd movie, Grow Up, Timmy Turner, premiered. A live-action film where Timmy was no longer a 10-year-old kid, but a 23-year-old teenager played by Drake Bell.
Cosmo, what are you guys, crazy?
You're a grown man still wearing horsey pajamas and you're asking if we're crazy? Crazy with excitement!
Timmy had refused to grow up so he could keep Cosmo and Wanda as his fairy godparents. But when his childhood friend Tootie returns as a beautiful young activist, Timmy starts facing a tough choice. Keep acting like a kid, or finally grow up and leave magic behind. Visually, it was a strange but eye-catching mix.
I'm never leaving you guys. I'm never getting a job and I'm never getting married. I just love you both way too much. Love, 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 love.
Cosmo and Wanda were brought to life with CGI, floating in a real-world setting filled with exaggerated colors and cartoon-style transitions. It was weird, yes, but that contrast between the real and the animated had a charm of its own. The funniest part was watching Drake Bell make exaggerated cartoon-like expressions, while real actors reacted to completely absurd situations. And although many fans took it humorously, the movie was a ratings hit, so much that Nickelodeon decided to make two sequels. A Fairly Odd Christmas, 2012, a holiday adventure where Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda must replace Santa Claus and save Christmas. A Fairly Odd Paradise, 2014, the final chapter of the trilogy, set in Hawaii, with a more romantic, comedic tone, where Timmy finally accepts growing up and letting go of magic. Each installment improved its visual effects with smoother CGI and better transitions between the animated and real worlds. And even though purists of the series preferred the original cartoon, and I include myself, these movies earned their own fan base thanks to their nostalgic and comedic tone. Butch Hartman himself participated in the production and even made cameo appearances in the films. Additionally, the live-action trilogy introduced for the first time the idea that magic could coexist with the real world, something later revisited in the hybrid series The Fairly OddParents, Fairly Odder. The Fairly OddParents, Fairly Odder, 2022. After several years of silence, Nickelodeon decided to bring the magic back in 2022, but this time by mixing live action and animation. That's how The Fairly OddParents, Fairly Odder was born, a series that many people weren't sure whether to love or hate. The story follows Viv Turner, the daughter of Timmy's uncle, and Roy, her optimistic stepbrother. When Timmy leaves for college, he passes Cosmo and Wanda onto them as their new fairy godparents.
Ta-da!
What are those?
We're your fairy godparents!
What?
From the very beginning, the show made it clear that it wasn't a reboot. It was a continuation of the original universe. And that alone was interesting, because it connected directly to everything that came before. Visually, Fairly Odder feels like a mix between a classic sitcom and a modern cartoon. The humans are filmed in real-life sets, but the godparents remain animated in 2D, floating around with exaggerated expressions and magical sparkles everywhere. It was a weird but creative experiment, playing with the contrast between colorful magic and the real world. The special effects were key. They used CGI for the wands, sparkles, and transformations, along with digital animation layered with 3D tracking to make Cosmo and Wanda fit inside the real sets, all wrapped in a bright, cartoonish tone reminiscent of Nickelodeon's absurd comedy style.
Wish I were taller!
Got it!
Oh, not what I was hoping for!
One quick montage coming up!
Personality-wise, Cosmo and Wanda were still the same characters we've always known, just a bit more experienced, almost like veteran godparents. Meanwhile, Viv and Roy represented the new generation. Viv is curious and a bit sarcastic, while Roy is pure enthusiasm and positive energy. And although the show received mixed reactions, the truth is that Fairly Odder was important because it kept the franchise alive, gave an official continuation to Timmy's story, and introduced the concept of fairy godparents being passed down to a new generation. In the first episode, Timmy makes a cameo to say goodbye to Cosmo and Wanda. And yes, he's still wearing his iconic pink hat. That moment was pure nostalgia for longtime fans. So while it wasn't a massive hit, Fairly Odder served as a bridge between the classic era and the new one. The Fairly OddParents, A New Wish, 2024 to present. And now we arrive at the most recent and modern version of them all. The Fairly OddParents, A New Wish, released in 2024. This time, Nickelodeon decided to make a full reboot with a brand new protagonist, a new CGI animation style, and a story completely independent from classic Timmy Turner. The series follows Hazel Wells, a 10-year-old girl who moves to a new town, struggles to fit in, and suddenly discovers that she has two very special fairy godparents, Cosmo and Wanda.
Well, I'm Cosmo, that's Wanda, and we're fairies!
Even though the universe is new, the godparents are still the same beloved characters, just updated for a new era. Cosmo is still the lovable disaster he's always been, and Wanda remains the voice of reason, now with a modern design featuring textures, soft shadows, and more expressive animations thanks to CGI. The visual change is the first thing that stands out. For the first time ever, the Fairly OddParents is fully animated in 3D with a colorful, fluid, and polished look. The magic now shines brighter than ever, literally. A New Wish doesn't try to replace the classic series. Instead, it reinvents it for a new generation of kids with more modern themes: friendship, anxiety, change, self-esteem, and the power of imagination. Hazel represents today's audience, curious, unsure at times, but with a big heart. And seeing Cosmo and Wanda adapt to a new era is a brilliant touch that connects past and present. There are also several nostalgic Easter eggs hidden throughout the show. In one episode, you can spot a photo of Timmy in the background. Small details for longtime fans.
This ain't a real bus, kid. It's a prop.
What?
And I'm no bus driver. I'm an actor. We're filming the new Crimson Chin movie.
And that's how Timmy Turner went from being a kid with a miserable life to becoming a true Nickelodeon icon. Between wishes, chaos, and lots of magic, his story showed us that growing up doesn't mean you have to stop dreaming. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss more videos about the evolution of your favorite characters. See you in the next video.